Nobody lets GQ do anything. My monitor a little closer here. Week is halfway over, right? Today's Wednesday. Let's unwind. Make some video games happen. It's gonna be good. Today's GQ's Friday. Perfect. TGQI Fridays. Today's my Wednesday. I get it. Yeah, it feels like a Wednesday. We're still in this small rectangle in the void with our two cats, which I want to change them a little bit very soon. I did a little bit off stream. Specifically, we now have this animation a lot cleaner. It pops up from the direction of the character that's talking. More or less. It's basically there. Additionally, and this is hard to see happening. Previously, you could, while the animation was playing out, the stem, there was some bleed through while they were kind of coming up. That's two separate objects. And so when they were low opacity fading in, you would kind of see the top of the stem behind the panel while it was still see-through. I've applied a mask so that it cuts off regardless of the angle it's rotated. And then the big thing is that I fixed the pathfinding for these guys. So what we did previously was we just hard-coded in something that basically said, for 3 seconds, move left. For 2 seconds, wait. For 3 seconds, move right. For 2 seconds, wait. And then repeat. And that worked okay, but if you got in the way, it would break the pattern. And I discussed some possible ways we could fix that. Every day is Sunday. What about Tuesday? Sorry, what was that? What's going on there? I think I might actually know what's going on there. It's something about me pressing the spacebar and some animation is restarting. Because the dialog box still exists. So let's look into that. That's the off-screen comment who comments every time you jump. Comments with no information. So that's our dialog box code. We are supposed to close the dialog when we complete the advanced text process. So it's advancing the text when we hit spacebar. Yeah, here we go. So this happens when we press the jump button, it advances the text, which that should only happen when we are not currently in the process of advancing text and we are active. So let me just see that is active flag. Oh, I forgot to turn on the bot. There you go. It's a good thing nobody, redeemed anything. Or everything would have gone terribly wrong. Alright, so let's bring up false, 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 false. Okay, so I do it. There it is. So it's active still. Oop. It went.
A singular strike.
It's just stuck active. That's the problem. So where's this is active flag being managed? We show the dialogue. It's active. Oh, we just never turned it off. So when we close the dialogue, yeah, I guess let's actually just turn it off. I'm not totally on board with that. Let's try it though. Okay, now when we mash spacebar. I'll be right back. Hello. Little Toadette's having a little trouble getting to sleep. We should get more TikTok clock in your Mario Hour run, Dupu. Alright, so we've already fixed a bug. So let's talk about this change here. What's going on with this guy? What that is I did implement that system that we talked about earlier, which is the, here we go, this patrol cycle system. I got a little script here for that. And it just looks at all of the nodes underneath it. If it's a node 3D, then it knows that the actor is supposed to be moved over there. If it is not a node 3D that starts with the phrase patrol pause, then it knows it's supposed to wait there for 2 seconds. Simply let her stay awake forever. Now we're thinking. And so this is a nice way that we can very quickly modify which positions a character will go to, hopefully. Oh, see, now he's going over there. Wait 2 seconds. And then back to here. And then he's going to loop indefinitely. And this is super nice because if something gets in his way for some reason, he will try to go there. And he will keep trying to go there. And that's it. That's his. We've developed a very rudimentary pathing system. The really nice thing is it's very visual. Like you can see, go there, go there. Also, it is agnostic to verticality. It does not care if it's only trying to target the X and Z coordinates. I did that mostly because I could see some bugs happening when things like change height slightly. Like if I decide to make a sprite slightly taller or shorter, it could throw off all the patrols. And I was like, no, nothing's going to be patrolling up and down unless there's some weird conditions at play there. So we're building this system two-dimensionally. Okay, so the next thing on my big to-do list. Yes. We need to get rid... Actually, I need to add camera controls. That's going to be an interesting system. Oh, it wasn't Bomberman. Oh, you know what it is, Al. You know what it is. There we go. All right. Capsule colliders. You can barely see that there's a capsule collider here. Capsule colliders are all the rage. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this. Look at this dude. So this is the shape of a capsule collider. It is a cylinder with rounded edges instead of circle edges. Instead of just a flat circle, it's a dome on either side. That is a capsule. It's a pill shape. They're fine for some things. I do not like them for games, for like moving around little guys like this. I don't know what it's kind of, maybe it's just like the defaultness of it all. But here's what happens. Here's the problem with it, in my humblest opinion. It's the edges. It's how it operates on the edge. Life on the edge. So because of this, you know what? Let's get out. Oh no, let's break in. I got some new software installed that we're gonna break in. Krita? I don't know. It seems well established. I'd never heard of it. I was trying some stuff in paint.net the other day and running on some surprising limitations. So we're just gonna try mixing it up with something new tonight. Dr. Mario. Alright, we're gonna try this. I don't know if it's gonna work. But I will explain my my problems with this. It's fine. So does this have... Yeah, pressure sensitivity. All right, love it. Good. Okay, so let's talk about my problem with capsule colliders. So you have your solid ground here, and then you have new layer. this button. That's undo. This button. This button. Okay, what's the new layer button? Insert. Oh, we're gonna have to make some modifications. Whatever. All right. Then you got your capsule. Which of course has a nice rounded. Let's can we zoom in? Can we resize a layer here? I'm gonna have there's gonna be a whole mess of things to learn here. Oh come on, you're a bot, right? Are you a bot? If you're not a bot, type the word bread. Sorry, I'm getting private messages, and I'm assuming it's a bot. Okay, so here's the issue. You know, sure, it's fine when you're on top of a ledge. It's fine when you're up against a ledge. What's weird is when you encounter a corner. It does this weird thing where it can kind of catch onto the corner and then slide on top. For some games, maybe that's desirable, but we're not talking like an animated ledge grab and hop on kind of thing. We're talking just like the solidity, the mass of player like lands there in its falling animation and then slides on top. And I don't like it. Maybe it's just because I'm used to older games, but it feels really, I don't have a great way of putting it. It feels very, imprecise, very amateurish. It's like that is not how a game is supposed to operate. That's not how physics should work for a video game. In my opinion, what it should be is the classic box, the classic hitbox. All right, what's the move hotkey here? Learning new buttons in okay. T. So what this would do is either you land on it and then, hey, you're on it. I mean, you're kind of like barely on by a toe, but you're on it. Or you don't quite hit it and you hit the wall. Great. Cube. Perfect. Make it a box. So that's what we're gonna actually do. That's the next thing on my to-do list. We're swapping out these capsule colliders. I've never been a fan. I don't know what problem they're supposed to solve. I've heard people say, oh, if you make a stair-step geometry, then it can get up the stairs easier. Make a ramp. The hitbox doesn't have to match what's visible there. If you want them to go upstairs, the stairs should be a ramp. All right, what's this per? A little bit. Thank you for the follow. I just got, moments ago, I got a direct message from what I can only assume is a bot, followed by that person following, and then I just got another follow. So, you know where this is, where my mind is going, like, uh-oh. Multiple. The second one was probably real. Hello, welcome, real person. I'm very jumpy about bots, because that's never a fun thing to deal with. All right, so we're gonna change this collision shape from a capsule to a box, a good old-fashioned box. This night will not end without a Star Wars D&D campaign. I promise you that. So yeah, then we can just like resize it, side at a time. Oh, you know what? Let me change it back, and I want to show you guys what the problem I'm having, and the reason I definitely want to do this now. It's mostly because of this guy here. Look how close I can get depth-wise to this. Look how close this is far away. I'm getting all the way up. That's as close as I can get. Side by side, I'm right next to him. That's fine. But if we examine from the top, looking at our circle colliders here, or our capsule colliders, that is hard to see, but right now the capsules are perfectly touching. How close is that? That's how far away that is. That's fairly far. And I would like that to be a little bit, yeah, a little bit more flat. He doesn't want to cast a shadow on the other one. That's it. That's what they're worried about. Yeah, I want them to be a little bit more flat. And capsules, Godot does not like, and I'm pretty sure most engines do not like squished colliders. You can change the size of the collider, but if it's a capsule, it expects it to be basically only 2 dimensions to worry about, and the other one is a perfect circle, so it shouldn't even matter. So it doesn't care for that kind of tomfoolery. So we're gonna mix it up a little bit. There we go. I mean, that's what I should do from the start, huh? Squish it up a little bit. Squish this up a bit. Boom. There we go. Now we have a more customizable hitbox. And we're going to do the same with our base actor class. So go ahead and open up that scene. And this collision shape, we're going to change that to a box. Boy, are we ever going to change that to a box. Squish it in a bit. Move these sprites over a little bit. Let's get that flat view here. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Look at all that excess space. Squish it good. Nice 0.4. Let's do a Star Wars RPG right now. Force lightning, force lightning. All right, that looks good. This can be reset. Well, there we go. Attack the darkness. All right, and there we go. That is probably a lot better. Okay, so we get about this close. Ooh, that doesn't look right. That looks like we're not getting as close as I want there. But how close are we actually getting? It's tough to tell. But I feel like I should be able to get a little bit closer than that. See, now a little bit of the roundedness makes a bit more sense. Maybe I should go with a cylinder. No, that's the same issue as before with the closeness. Maybe the problem is that it's just... Oh, wait a second. What's going on here? What is the deal here? Let's move this patrol pause here just so it stays still for a bit. Move this guy over a bit. These boxes are very difficult to see. Is my collision shape just too big? Let's go 0.4. So this should be how close they can get. Maybe it's just because he's all the way over there? I know you would, Al. Yeah, it's like... Yeah. Ah. So maybe cylinder is a better case for us. But just kind of like a little on the small side. It just feels like I'm not getting enough, like I'm not getting close enough depth-wise. Maybe that's an optical illusion. Maybe that's plenty close right there. It's really tough to say for sure. I'm just not sold either way. Let's get rid of this. Don't need you. Okay, I can add another base actor here. Oh, now what? Hang on. Let me go to the base actor. What is it? Collision shape is here. Sprites are here? Oh, because it's a big old image file, I guess, is the reason it looks like it's got such a large box there. So let's just add another actor to the scene here, but not give them a patrol cycle at all. So we got a nice stationary NPC we can just kind of bump up against. Yeah, the corner does feel weird. Like right here, it feels like I should be able to kind of go round them. This is tricky. I'm so suspicious about this bot. It hasn't messaged me back, but I'm like, you're like 100% not a real person. I'm immediately distracted by this. Like, The DM I got was, "Yo, what's up?" Next line. "Your streaming was awesome. Keep it up." What? It's one of those like super generic, like, okay, that's obviously not written by a person. There's no way to do like an elliptoid sort of thing, right? Well, you know what? We're not 100% sure on that. Let's see what other shapes are available. Yeah. It's like we can do a cylinder, and that deals with the weirdness of corners, but still lets us have that kind of rounded interaction. Stick with one cylinder. But see, look how far away that is from people. You know? You could have to get pretty tight on the cone there. Let's see. What does this look like? What does this look like when I'm moving around? A placeholder in the NPC. Oh no. That feels better when going around things, despite this thing's very non. All right, let's try replacing base actors hitbox with a cylinder. See if we like that a little bit better. Yeah, at some point we will have to actually look into, for realsies, enemies. Wow, you stream is so good. Okay, see that? It feels like I'm not getting close at all vertically, and I can't tell, like, not vertically, but like depth-wise. Like, that feels like I'm really far away compared to how close I can get from the side. And that makes sense. Paper-thin art, you know? it's like I would expect the hitbox to allow me to get closer than that. Oh, thank you. I will check it out at some point. Maybe during this very stream. The fact that it's a cylinder now means I can stand on top of things a little easier. Not that we want that to be a thing. I don't know how we'll deal with that. Put it in the stream. I may need to do a little research in how Thousand Year Door does NPC hitboxes, because now I'm really curious. Like, what is the system there? You know? Gotta get the first boss. Alright, that's something we'll look into. Okay, NPC patrol path. We did that. NPC patrol zone is another thing, and that's more for enemies. Still relevant, but I don't know if we have to do that yet. Yeah. It feels like you can get right up next to stuff, and it just lets you. Now, I actually watched some footage of the last time I played Thousand Year Door, because I was very interested in one thing I'm seeing in here is perspective is really making a mess of things for me. Like, if you look at the NPC on the far right versus the far left here, once I actually move him over, the angle, like, look what perspective is doing to that. It's like, is that just an FOV problem? Like, is that something like, oh, that'll be solved once you're, you know, if you have a tighter FOV? And like, yeah, but now you can't see as much. Actually, no, see, I'm not getting anywhere near him. I'm not getting anywhere near him. What if NPC very flat square hitbox, player round hitbox? Let's try that. Let's let them have actual hitboxes. But make them very, very flat. Basically to the point wherein we are relying on the player's thickness to dictate everything. See, that looks fine. Get around in front and it doesn't feel fine anymore. Like, that feels like a lot. Why is that? What's the difference here? Is it really just like an optical illusion of some sort? That looks fairly fine. Let's go into this. Doesn't look fine anymore. Go even thinner? Actually, part of it, the art isn't centered. Somehow. Yeah. I doubt that's really the problem. Maybe. Okay. Now, part of it is the player is going to be, like, more or less center of the screen, not off to the side. So you won't have this weird perspective thing going on. But this lets me get what feels like pretty close here. Now, does it let me... And it still lets me kind of brush off of them. Like if I'm lined up, not quite on center, then it kind of pushes beyond it, which is good. I think that's what we want. That's a good... That feels right. So I can get about... That looks a lot better, I guess. I think part of it might just be this weird perspective trick. Yeah, let's leave it at that for now. I think that's all right. And that brings us to the next major piece, which is... Willow! Hello! Yeah, I don't know how much longer these kitties are going to be in the game. They're nice little placeholders for now, but they won't be there forever. We need to actually talk to characters. Thought you were making a kitty game? No, I just drew a cat as a placeholder NPC character. Oops. Okay, so what we want is when there's an NPC, we want to be able to get within a certain range of them and then press a button to talk to them. So this is twofold. First, we need to actually have an area that counts as you must be this close to talk. I don't know why you think they'd look familiar. They're completely unique. They've never been in a video game ever. So what we'll probably do for this is we want to actually reuse the same system we build for NPC dialogue. We want to reuse that for signposts or other points of interest. So it doesn't have, whatever we build doesn't need to be limited to NPCs. So I think how we'll define this is basically an area around the character. How do you make a backpack carry type of thing? Like in a video game? Like you can carry things in Dabble Worlds. But in that, there's not like an inventory system. You're actually picking it up and holding it around. Like in Stardew Valley? Depends on the system. I mean, like, if you're talking code-wise, you just... Well, I guess it depends on how complex your system is. Like, let's say you have one type of item. Well, you have one for your video game. Yes. Yeah, you gotta have like an inventory of items where you can go to shops, buy items, sell items, find items in treasure chests or whatever. We're definitely gonna do that. I guess I need to add that to the master thing, the master list of things we should do at some point. That's gonna require a lot of consideration. Oh, we will get there. Don't you worry. I love item good. I have never, now that I think about it, I've never done like a full-fledged inventory system. Moon Rover had like you would acquire weapons throughout the game and they would take slots. So you had like 4 slots for weapons and you could sell weapons and buy weapons. But it was not like an in-depth system. It was basically like a variable for here's what you have for weapon 1, here's what you have for weapon 2, here's what you have for weapon 3, here's what you have for weapon 4. And when you got an item, it was just stuff that in the first available variable. And when you sold one, it was set that variable to null and give the character money instead. This one will be a lot more involved, I feel. Well, I don't know. It's going to be very differently involved. Because Moon Rover had a whole system where you could upgrade your items. And it would actually change how they operated, like the fire rate and the damage that they dealt. It was a very, very different sort of game. But we learned some things that will help, I'm sure. Yeah, I've got a whole series somewhere in the backlog of all kinds of what was it? I want to say, I'm not sure exactly how many streams we spent on Moonrover on stream, but I want to say it was in the neighborhood of 20 or so of just building this little Flash style game, not in Flash, but in JavaScript. And that one went through a lot of design process talk and all that. It was very fun. That was years ago. That was before Dabble Worlds. All right. So, actor. We're going to say this isn't... Well, it should be part of the base actor, shouldn't it? Oh, yeah. Gosh, that was pre-Al, even. Pre-Al Dobbs had a beard temporarily. Hang on, let's see what we can find here. Oh, it's me. Let's mute that before things get out of hand. Videos, highlights. Look for highlights of software and game development. There's Dabble Worlds. Fight or Flightless. Psh. That's what the people wanted. What? Why would they still want it? Oh, you know what? I think that predates when I started highlighting every VOD, so it's only on YouTube. Let's see here. Da, 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 da. I don't have a playlist or anything, but there we go. This, oh, what an ugly URL, and yet. Boy, wouldn't it be nice if there was, like, if this was sorted or something. But the ones from 2021, well, early 2021, were all Moonrover streams. Why did it give me results for things that are surely not? Whatever. It's fine. Moonrover was a fun project. All right. So, do we want to have some... Do all NPCs have something to say? I would argue yes, of course. There's not going to be any NPC who doesn't have some bit of text. Like every NPC out there is going to have some text to say. So, we're going to have a new resource here. A node 3D, and we're gonna pull this out into a special object here in just a little bit. But for now, we're gonna build it right on top of our base placeholder actor class, and we're gonna call this dialogue zone. Dialogue zone, sure. Ooh, now. Ooh. Okay. Another thing they say, and then a second thing they say after you talk to them. That is a classic, isn't it? I think it should be kind of to taste, you know, whichever thing makes the most sense at the time. I think we're gonna. All right. Unity does some things well. Like, they are an evil company, but they have a decent thing going for them, and that it's very easy to build properties that can be edited in the inspector. An infinite number of things. No, we just append an incrementing number to the end of it. So here's the tricky thing: is how do we tell when we're dragging one of our dialogue objects onto the scene and say, all right, this one belongs to the signpost. How do I tell it what that particular version of the dialogue zone is supposed to say? I don't know. In Unity, I know what I would do. I would expose a property in the inspector. I think Godot has something kind of like this called a resource. And we'll check on that. Custom inspector property. Oh wait, editor property? No. Oh, that's for plugins. Okay, that's not what I want. Rudimentary AI that would parse input and give an answer. The winning team simply had all the questions sent to one of the team members who manually provided the answers. Hey, that's a solution. It's awful, but it works. Let's see here. Exported variables. That might... Okay, I think that's what we need. Exported properties. Yeah, that's the one. That's what it's called. Exported property. Okay, so we definitely need this to have a script attached to it. Where does this belong? This is its own new thing. All right, let's save as a scene in entities. This is something that doesn't necessarily apply to act. Well, I guess a signpost is, in a sense, just a special case actor that doesn't move. So let's put it in base actor. No. Well, kind of. So I want this folder, Entity Actors, to be like the list of every NPC type that we make. Thinking in Thousand Year Door, it should be like, you know, I want my Rogueport Goomba to be one item in the Actors folder. And then I can sprinkle a few of those around Rogueport. And then, you know, just swap out their name and their tattle info and what they say. But then we'd want to put all of the Rogueport style NPCs in one folder, all of the Chapter 1 NPCs in one folder, maybe even subfolders for Petalburg versus Hooktail's Castle. So this is Dialogue Zone is a shared actor. Oh, it's not even... All right, I'm putting it in with base actor, I guess. Fine. I'll put it in the same folder. So base actor is going to get a little bit, because I also got the patrol cycle object. Yeah, actors are going to be complicated things that can hold many different things. Like, not all actors have to have a walk cycle. Not all actors have to have a dialogue. I mean, they should, but they will, but they don't have to. Imagination complete. Beep, 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 beep. All right, so dialogue zone. There it is. Beautiful. It's an empty 3D blob of nothing. Ha ha ha. We are going to add to that a script called Dialogue Zone. Great. We're also going to add to Dialogue Zone an area 3D, I think. This needs to have a collision shape, or else it doesn't work. Because you have to tell it what kind of area is it, and we're gonna say it's a box. Wait, it still isn't like that. What is it? It has no shape. Consider adding collision shape 3D. I did. Oh. There we go. Okay, so now if we switch to 3D, we can see the collision zone around the NPC. We want to make that a lot flatter than it currently is. So we're going to take this and make it 0.6. Yeah, that's a good region of dialogue there. That is the dialogue zone. I'm actually going to make it a little shorter also. Like that? Oh, the centering is going to be weird. That, and then yeah, that's probably fine right there. Mostly I don't want a case where you're like on a ledge above an NPC and doing weird stuff like that. I mean, we can get around that by just designing areas in a way that that doesn't happen, but I think it'll be cleaner if we just try really hard. Okay, dialogue zone. We need to look for the player. So the player is going to enter this zone, this area 3D, which we need to do signals for entered and exited. Emitted when the received body enters this area. Okay. Body entered, connect, body exited. Okay. So we're going to have some functions that fire when basically when any 3D physics object gets close enough to talk to this. We want to make sure, hey, this object we're talking about, that's the player, right? Now, how do we determine if it's the player? I don't really know. We can search it for, well, you know what? Let's do a quick search. Godot, area, 3D, body, entered, check type. How to tell what sort of body I've hit in area, bodied, entered. Okay, this is from 3.5, but still. One thing we can check is .name. I hate that. I hate checking name. You can check for the actual type. Is in group. Maybe. We can also check to see if it has a method, or probably a property. Has meta, has method, has user signal. Okay, we can check a few different things. I think we can also check to see if it has a certain property. So for instance, where's our player? Here we go. Like we could just have a property called this is the player that only this object has, and that would count. That would be silly, but maybe not that silly. It feels like group is the proper way to do it. So let's do that then. Where is our, there's our player stuff right here. Where's the rest of our player? This is part of our player object. What's our actual player? Oh, we don't actually have a, whoops, okay. We never actually even bothered making a player object. Let's actually call this player before we do anything else. And then make this a scene. Save as scene. Player. There we go. Now we've pulled that out into its own little object called player. And now player itself, can we put that in a group? Manage group. Let's just call it group player. Nodes in group is, well, player, right? Now, wait a second. How does this... Oh, okay. All right, I think that should be good. Like, even if we instantiate this in other scenes, we should still be fine. Okay. So, print... body dot is in group. Player. And then the same for an exit. Okay. Is that all we need to start with here? All right, so we're gonna walk into the zone. Boop, we got a true down the debugger, and then as we exit, true again. Same for this guy, when we enter, and when we exit. Nice. Okay, cool, that works. So we're gonna use this to maintain a property tracking whether or not the player is within that area. There's not just like a single function we can do to say like, hey, is the player currently in the area? We can't get that. Well, we can, but it would be ugly. So instead, it is easier, not just in Godot, but in a lot of engines, to just say when it enters the area, turn a switch on, and when it exits the area, turn the switch off, and then just read the state of that switch. Is player in area? We're going to start that as false and hope that that's accurate. So, if the player enters, then set it equal to true. Enjoy your lurk. And then similarly, when something leaves, if it happens to be the player, then set that equal to false. And that's how we'll know when the player is in the area. Now, next thing we want to do. Can I get a... So I've never used this before. Can I get a decent little text bubble? What do we think? Always bet on Charizard or Bomberman. Okay, let's see here. Yep. I don't even know if we can export to PNG properly. So basically what I'm looking for is like basically that. Except not exactly that, because that's exactly what it looks like in Thousand Year Door. And I'd like to not be exactly Thousand Year Door. I'd like this to be my game. What is another way to indicate have something to say? Bug Fables does this weird one that's like, okay, you guys are trying too hard to not be Thousand Year Door. It does like this is like this whole thing is the icon. This entire thing is the icon that Bug Fables uses. It's something along those lines. It's not exactly that, but it reads as like a whole face with words coming out, and it's colorful and bright. It's like, okay, that's busy. Whereas Thousand Year Door is just like black and white. It's that. And it's like, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's it. that's the thing you want to see over someone's head when they have something to say. It's like exclamation mark. Well, that's like I have a quest for you. What are we thinking? What is you are within range. You may talk to me now. Actually, Thousand Year Door also uses exclamation marks for things that you can inspect, like reading a sign, or trying to enter a door. Anytime you're next to something where you can interact in some way, but it's not talking to someone, it's an exclamation mark. Interacting with a computer console, searching a bookshelf, it's exclamation mark. Well, this is specifically in range of talking. I am very tempted to just take the obvious. Like I am ready to say a thing. All right, hang on. Let's do a little bit of let's do a little study here. RPG talk icon. What do they got? What do we got? What do games use? I see a lot of D&D. Text bubble with an exclamation mark in it. Yeah. Makes sense. There's somebody's fan art of the antagonist of Origami King. Not sure what that's doing there. Microphone. I'm not seeing any actual examples from games. What does it look like in games? Like a speaker. What did it look like in Mario Odyssey? That's not a RPG, but like, you know, long play, full game, 23-hour video. Jeez. All right, well, yeah, that's what I want though. Is I just want to see you walk up to an NPC and talk to them, please. So for that, let's hunt for New Donk City. Pan. Here we go. Okay, so a lot of NPCs just kind of like talk when you get close with a little short snippet. Yep. Okay, yeah. The shop, you get close to the guy and he's got basically the icon, the circle, but it's a picture of a hat inside to show that he sells you hats. Makes sense. What else we got? Come on. Talk to someone. I'm skimming through this. There's the New Donk guy that has a kinship with birds. Oh, here we go. Okay, from a distance, Pauline has blue exclamation mark in a black speech bubble, and it wiggles to draw your attention. When you get close, what? Okay, when you get close, it replaces the icon with the letter A for press the A button, dummy. Donkey Konga. So that's an idea. But then, no. That fits Odyssey because there are not a lot of people that you are expected to walk up to talk to. Most people will just say things as you're passing by. If you were to use the same set up for an RPG where you could talk to everyone, then everyone would constantly have a bubble over their head. And that's a bit much. So that's not a great example. Good to know. Perfect. You know what? I'm just gonna go with this for now. All right, brush. How do I invert color? Is there a? How do I choose a color? How about that? Color selector. Okay. I want this. Can I invert? Nope, that's eyedropper. Oh my gosh, there's so many hotkeys that are different than Photoshop. Okay, I just want to paint bucket. F for fill. Okay, I mean, yeah. Layer is locked. Oh, okay. Just fill it with, yeah, there we go. Just so I can properly color this in. Some RPGs do that, like a lot of NPCs, not all of them have dialogue. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things we want to... We want everything to have dialogue, basically. Do I want this to be a clean fill or kind of a patchy fill? Yeah, we can leave a little bit of patchiness. It kind of looks nice. Well, does it look nice? Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Is this zoom? What's the zoom layer on zoom? Oh geez, I made that big for what it is. Okay, crop is... Okay, good. Crop is C at least. Alright. We can delete this layer. No, like, actually delete the layer. Delete it. Thank you. Alright. How do I... Oh, okay. PNG. Just throw it on the desktop for now. Text bubble icon. Okay, that looks fine. Whew. All right, we made our first thing in Krita. Krita. Got the critical hit. Yeah, we need a folder for this. Within the base actor folder, we're gonna have the dialogue zone folder for all this dialogue zone stuff that's going on. Dialogue zone. Honestly, patrol cycle should maybe get its own folder. All right, dialogue zone has a text bubble now. Yeah, everyone's gonna have something to say. I'm gonna have to do a lot of writing. Like, a lot. Okay, the height of this. I think... Most things will be about the same size, about character sized. Okay, so we're gonna add a... I guess we're doing the Sprite 3D again. And that's gonna be with the text. It's too big. Oh, Xbox huge. Yeah, we should scale that down. Scale it down and move it up. Oops. All right, how does that look here? Not high enough. A little bit higher. Just a, well, okay, here's something. There probably will be some shorter NPCs, and for those, I want it to be lower down. I guess for those, we'll just move the box, the actual dialogue zone box down, and that'll be fine. That'll be good enough. Like on this, I can actually move the whole dialogue box, hitbox and all, up to taste, because the player will still overlap it. Okay, this needs to animate. So we need an animation player. And we need to give it an animation called Spin. And that's going to be on the rotation. Insert key. And then rotate this 360 degrees. Insert key. Should be autoplay. Should be looping. Go. It's not spinning. That's not much of a spin, if you ask me. Is this doing the same thing that I've seen before? I feel like I've seen this exact same thing before. All right, delete this. Delete this. Get rid of it. Add track. Property track. Sprite 3D. And then just define it as the rotation. Yeah, she's having a little bit of a stirring. What's that? Okay, I'll go check on it. Be right back. I'm back. Hello, everyone. Kiddo just needed a little check-in there. She's fine. So yeah, I've seen this. I don't get what's going on with this, but I have seen this happen, and I don't know why. Feels like... Yeah, and now does it work? Now it works. I don't know why. Okay, that is too fast, though. We can actually just turn the animation speed down. Let's go to half speed there. That looks great. That looks great. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Looks perfect. All right, so cool. Whoops. I just tried to save something. I don't know what. So right now, that's just going to be on all the time. Oops. This one. Everyone's got something to say. Gosh, you can really see at the edge of the screen how weird this looks. Once our camera is actually moving around properly, that's not going to be as big. Getting this camera angle figured out is going to be crucial. Think it fits right in? Well, that's good. Well, what looks weird to me is, like, look on the one on the left. It looks like it's on top of his ear, but the one on the right looks like it's dead on. And that's just because of perspective. Like, with the way the vanishing point is set up, like, when you get over to the side, things are, like, angling outward. Because the camera is pointing down at them. And so we'll need to work on that a bit. is to figure out the proper camera angle to make this work. But for what it's worth, like, you know, this won't be on top of things that are not in the center of the screen, because the camera's going to follow you, and when you get close to the edge, then yeah. All right. Okay, next thing to do. This one's going to be pretty easy, I think. Is dialogue zone. We're going to define our sprite as a sprite 3D. And we're going to say that we want to turn it on and off as the player approaches. Let's see here. Sprite dot. We want to. I don't know. Like enable it, disable it. How do we turn? We could change the modulation. Make it transparent. Mostly, I just want to hide. What does this do? Disables rendering. Changes visible to false. Oh, okay, so there should just be a dot visible that we should be able to just edit. Yeah, visible equals false. And when we enter the area, make it true. Which means that by default, when we start up, we want it to be invisible. All right, here we go. Boop. Hey, oh. Oh, we got an RPG. We got what looks like an RPG here. Kind of want it to be a little bit bigger. Same height, but a little bit bigger. So let's open up dialogue zone, sprite 3D, scale it up just a smidgen more, like 0.09, 0.1. How's that look? That might be it. Ha. All right. That's pretty good, in my opinion. All right. Next, we need to make them actually say something when we push a button. Okay, this is where it gets a little weird. All right, dialogue zone. We're gonna define. We don't want dialogue zone to point to a specific text block. Because the actual text it needs to display depends on like certain flags in the game code. It's like, okay, the mayor of town is going to say something before you defeat the dragon and after you defeat the dragon, but it's a different thing. Or after he's given you the quest before you defeat the dragon, all that stuff. So what we'll do is we're going to export what are we gonna call this? This is gonna be something to represent the specific character that we're talking to. Actor code. Let's go with actor code. What does it not like? What does it not like here? Okay, there we go. All right, actor code. Yeah, and now we can type that in there. Okay, so when we go to add this to an actor, let's see here. Yeah, then we can fill in the actor code here. Ooh. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. So dialogue zone will not be directly added to base actor. So we're going to delete that. Instead, it's going to be added in the scene as a child of an actor, as an actor's child. So this moving around one is going to get a dialogue zone, and we're going to say this is actor code test_A. And so whatever code is going to manage dialogue, like actually fetching the text, replacing placeholders, anything else, is going to be using that code to determine who, like what text is going to be said and what dialogue tree is going to start, or if like a small cinematic is going to kick off. All right. Our goal here is to make it so that these two guys can have different dialogue. Okay, so if you have entered into the zone and you pressed the jump button, then that's a big deal. Dun dun dun. Let's see here. Start with this. We'll have some kind of variable for knowing that we're in a dialogue at the moment. But for now, it's just gonna be when you press the button, do the thing. For now, let's actually use what we've got on the player code for dialogue, which is show dialogue tied to get parent. Okay, so now when we press the jump button near a character, it should give some text. There we go. Oh, it's doing it all the time. Right. It should only happen if player in area. Okay, we jump, we jump next to this guy. He says a thing, and he closes. Amazing. Now there's going to be some kind of scene level magic that says stop everyone from, or stop the talking character from moving when they are talking. Other characters can probably still move around a little bit, but you can't start a battle, a random battle or something like that. The character can't move around. You can't pause the game. Nothing while you are in dialogue. Also, we don't want to show that while we're in dialogue. Little text bubble. So let's see here. How are we going to do that? Hey, Maps. It's going pretty good. We're making some progress. We're getting dialogue boxes to show up. It's a good start. As it turns out, that's a big system for RPGs. Okay, so that lets us show the dialogue, but we also need to probably send a flag to the player. RPG, the best stuff. Let's see. Body is what? Body should be the sprite itself, or is it the color? Yeah. So, yeah, let's say player is some sort of 3D node, and when we enter, we're going to set the player property equal to whatever entered the zone that is a player object. In 2 instances of the same program at the same time when the program does not support it. Ooh, interesting. Interfacing with other programs is that's its own little, that's its own kettle of fish. Okay, player is gonna have a is in dialogue flag. Does that need to live on the player, or does that need to live on like some kind of scene management, like flow management? Where does that live? It can live on the player for now. No, I feel like it does not want, I feel like we do not want to have it there. I think we want it on the UI global. Is in dialogue as a Boolean. So make an auto hotkey script, do it. Want to just switch the other and do it immediately. Yeah. Snacks. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Hovercat. Oh. Thank you for thinking of me. I've used auto hotkey exactly once, and I never ended up using it for the thing I set out to use it for. I tried learning it a bit. I had a dumb idea, and it involves Dupu. It wasn't for spamming channel point redeems either. Dupu getting dragged into this again. Dupu did nothing wrong, it's fine. No, I've not really used any other hotkey scripting programs or anything. Dabbing Dupu. No, what my plan was, this is so dumb. With auto hotkey, I was gonna set it up so that as soon as I say what I was planning, it's gonna be fairly obvious what I was planning to use it for. So that something like pressing the letter S on the keyboard would cause the spacebar to be pressed 3 times in short succession. Whereas pressing the O button on the keyboard would cause the spacebar to be hit in 3 long successive hits. My goal was to set it up so that it would be a Morse code keyboard using auto hotkey, so that I could pull up the game Morse and absolutely destroy it by just typing what I see the words as, and just be like, oh yeah, I learned Morse code, I'm getting pretty good at it. For anyone who may not know, Dupu has a game he made. It's basically a rhythm game where text scrolls by and you have to input the Morse code equivalent quickly before it scrolls off screen. But I got sidetracked with a million other side projects and ended up not doing it. But that was my dumb idea. Cheating. Cheating was my dumb idea. Dun dun dun. I'm gonna move that. Man, the channel point window is so busy now with these new things. With all the whatchamacallits, the Gigantify and all those. Well, Maps, thank you for popping in. Always good to see you. It's kind of dumb, I suppose. Maybe not dumb enough, though. Alright, so we're going to drop this completely. And we're also going to say that if UI global dot is in dialogue, okay. If it's not in dialogue, then you can move around. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to say that when you start showing a dialogue, which apparently is also in UI global, oh, that's in dialog box, show dialogue, we're going to set is in dialogue equal to true. Now, close dialogue. Closed dialogue is a different matter entirely. For now we'll put it right here. But really it's like a second after this. I need to figure out how we're going to manage that. Alright. Well, okay. This is not great. For one thing, it still made me jump. For another thing, I can still wiggle around. Also, this little bubble needs to go away. Alright, we're going to replace sprite visible here with is player in area. No, wait. Sprite visible equals player in area. We're not going to do it in these. And then also we're going to say if we're in a dialogue, don't show it at all. Okay. We're just making small improvements. What are the tokens for? Soundboard mostly. So that people can do funny soundboards.
Don't do it, no!
Space, space, I'm gonna go to space, 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 please, space, 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 go to space, 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 I'm gonna go to space, 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 go to space.
And we don't have a germ dove soundboard item, do we?
Bop, 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 bop.
Dang it, Snail. He can't keep getting away with it. Alright, so It's still letting us wiggle. That's fine. But the little text bubble goes away, which is good. Also, I've soft locked myself. So what I want... For some scenes, like little cinematics, I should have some easy bake function to tell the player, move to this specific spot before the conversation begins. So that I can tell him, hey, move in front of the NPC so you guys are looking, so you're not like overlapping, you're in front of each other. Pull camera in, begin conversation. It's okay for that to be, too late, Mac. Too late. Gosh, everybody loves their gambling. Move this after move and slide. That should maybe help with the wiggling. Nope. Still wants to... Well, it's not making us move as much anymore. It's going to be a disaster. Okay, direction is the intended direction. Maybe I should be basing it off of the actual velocity. Or just say, don't do any of this. For now, let's just say, if we're in a dialogue, you can't do any of this stuff. Can't move, can't flip. Okay, so next up, the dialogue box code. Yeah, right here. I want to delay this by about 1 second. Snail got an XP. Delay code. A disaster. Dang it, Snail. All right, we're going to add an on dialogue done function. And that's what's going to set this stuff off. And it's going to happen a second after this happens somehow. So let's have a var done timer equals 0. This is a little bit of a silly way to do this. We're going to set it to 1 second. Actually, I guess half a second. I'm going to say if done timer is greater than 0.0, deduct delta, and if that puts done timer less than or equal to 0.0, then call on dialog done, and then return. That might be all we need to handle that delay. But then that still pops up. Ew. Ew. Some weird race conditions there. The space button action that is closing out the dialog box, it should not be possible for that to trigger another one, because this one can only happen if, oh no, if not already in a dialogue, then you can open up a dialogue. All right, let's see if that fixes that. Hey, nice, okay. Now let's make it so it makes you not jump. How do we get that to happen? How do we get it to where... What process is first? I'll try it this way. Nope, I still jumped. Implying that we are, at this moment, not in dialogue. Well, see, that makes me want to put the dialogue accessing stuff in the player code, so that we can intercept that first and say, aha, looks like we're in a dialogue. Maybe there's some kind of priority that we can do. Yeah, looks like there is a priority in execution order. All right, what would happen then if we just said that player gets prioritized after? Nah, I still jumped. Okay, wait, maybe -1 is actually not the way I think it is. Maybe I want 1. Nope, okay, cool, great. Dang it. All right. When you jump, I'm going to print the word jump to the console. Versus when you're in a dialogue zone, you do that, I'm going to print the word dialogue. And I'm just going to see which one comes up first. I'm expecting jump. Yes, jump happened first and then dialogue. Okay. And if I change this priority to -1, now what? Now what's the order? Jump still happens first. This is the physics process. Ooh. Why is that in the physics process? I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. It's not super great. I get it, but I don't like it. But it's like all physics all the physics stuff happens first. Oh man. Dooku out for blood? He wants the thing. He wants that thing. All the physics calls happen first. It's his thing, I guess. Man. Can't let him have a thing. Man, I had the Tweed thing for like 3 minutes. And someone stole the Tweed thing from me. Unbelievable. Okay, I know what we need to do. No, I think I know what we need to do. Hotly contested thing, I'll say. Is jump pressed? It's false. And what we need to do is in the regular process function, is I'm gonna do this. Do the input processing. It's just is jump pressed equals the value of this Boolean. And then in here we can do the actual jumping process. But in here, we can also say that we cancel it out if we're in dialogue. I do not like that you can use and spelled out or double ampersand for and. That is super weird to me. There we go. No jumping. All right, now the character itself is running around while talking, which isn't great. It should be that we, I don't know. Yeah, nothing should be able to move while the dialogue box is pointing at them. They can move in between, like it can be, they talk for a bit, dialogue box closes, they move somewhere, dialogue box reopens. That can be part of one single conversation object. But while a dialogue is up, order pizza and work on this all night. I can't do all night anymore. I used to be able to do all night. And set me up with a 2-liter, some pizza. I'd crank out my 12-page paper, drink a Monster. I don't think my heart could take a Monster energy drink. I'm not 29 like Dooku. Okay, that's a lot better. Okay, how do we prevent the one who's talking from moving? I mean, I don't know if you're... I don't know how... Like, I could argue, like, oh, man. I couldn't even handle one cigarette starting out, but I've managed to work myself up to it. Now I can handle a whole pack. No. Oh, I've got a very uninteresting story. This morning, I got a text message. Someone was trying to start a pig butchering scam attempt. Oh, I deleted it, didn't I? I mean, that makes sense. Of course I did. It wasn't interesting at all. It was basically like, hey, you about ready to go shopping? And this was like early in the morning. And so I was just like just on the off chance that like maybe it's an actual human at the other end and like they are confused. Then it's like I could help the world a little bit. So I was like, wrong number, sorry. And that was it. And then they texted back like 30 minutes later, like, oh, isn't this so-and-so? Like, no, wrong number, sorry. I'm like, okay. But then the telltale message that's like, okay, this is the equivalent of the I'm a Nigerian prince and, which was, oh, sorry, my assistant must have given me the wrong number. My name is X. Hope I wasn't bothering you, was I? It's like, well, cool. And that was the end of the conversation there. Just go shopping, please, and $550. That's a very specific amount. It's $500, and also we got to cover tax. But with a name like Johnny Business, how could I lose? Okay, base actor. They've all got... No. Ooh, it's not base actor, it's the patrol cycle business that needs to be managed. It basically needs to be paused. If they have a patrol cycle, I need to tell them stop doing it. It's Johnny Business. Do you want to invest? You want to be your own boss? Man, and you know what else? You know what else? On top of the scam text, I got not technically a scam, but scam adjacent. Got a ring on the doorbell the other day during dinner time, and we have the best possible relationship with our neighbors, which is we just don't interact. It's like we'll wave, we'll do a friendly wave if we see them outside, in the rare occasion that we're outside. But generally, we live around a lot of like much older than us people, like one full generation above us. And so, yeah, sometimes two generations, yeah. So it's like I don't really know any of these people. If there's ever a ring at the doorbell, it's like there's a 2% chance that it's someone in the neighborhood who actually is trying to tell us something about like, hey, y'all's tree's on fire. That hasn't happened, thankfully, but that's the sort of thing. It's like, oh, someone's ringing the doorbell. It's probably solicitation, but maybe not. So I go answer his doorbell, and at the door is exactly what you want to see. It's just two roughly college-age guys with a clipboard, and like, hi. Like, hey, are you the homeowner? Like, I am. Are you guys selling anything? And the guy with like such enthusiasm, like he was waiting for this question. He says, "Nope, we're offering free roof inspections." I'm like, I wished them well and closed the door. And I'm like, with such conviction, the guy was like, "Aha, we're not actually selling you something. We're actually offering you a service in the same way that a grocery store offers you free passage into their aisles to look at all their groceries. They're not selling you anything. They're just letting you come see all the things for sale. It's free." Like, there is no situation in which I receive purely free beneficial things from a roof inspection. Anyway, that's it. That's my anecdote. Enjoy. I was born yesterday. Oh, man. He was just so delighted, as though I had walked right into his clever trap. Ha ha, we're not selling anything. Yes, you are. That is a direct line into, we are looking at your roof so we can figure out what to sell you. How is that, how, in good conscience, how can you think that if someone asks you, are you selling something, you can in good conscience say no in that situation? It's like, that bugs me more than the interruption to the evening. It was just such a dumb interaction. And I don't know why I'm all worked up about it. I'm like, no, that is selling something. What do you mean? Thank goodness. All that money I saved on the inspection, I can afford this roof. Rolled away. He gracefully started talking about other things. It's a segue joke, you see. But it's spelled differently. That was the joke. All right. How do we make this thing stop patrolling? To do that, we check to see if the actor has a child called Actor Patrol Cycle. That's naming again, but it's fine. Okay, so to turn it off, speaker equals get parent and then we're gonna say speaker children equals speaker dot get children. Oh wait, get child. Okay, that's index. Get node. Does this work? What if it's null? Is that allowed? Like, if such a node does not exist, does that throw an error? Let's find out. Actually see the debug window down here. All right, boop. Yep, we got the active patrol cycle. But if we go over here and talk to this guy who doesn't actually have dialogue, so we can't, let's add that. Give him a dialogue zone. Boop, done, easy. That is super easy. And now he has dialogue. Look at that, incredible. Okay, what happens when I try to talk to him? Null. Okay, so it doesn't error out, it just gives us null. So, patrol cycle. If patrol cycle exists, if it's not null, then we need to set some kind of flag on the patrol cycle. And we need to be... Ooh. This needs to be for the duration of the conversation, too. Like, if there's multiple blocks of text that happen one after the other with, like, you talk, and then your partner talks, and then you talk, and then your partner talks. We need to make sure they stop for the whole thing. I don't really have the patience to mess with door-to-door salespeople. You should just say no, yeah. But I don't have a roof. No, that's just the other side of my ceiling. Oh. The whole, a lot of those door-to-door things, they feel so predatory, because I know it's always like college kids who have answered some kind of ad that's like, hey, you could earn some money for the summer. We pay well, work outdoors, and then they just drive these kids out to some neighborhood that they're not familiar with, and they say, all right, you gotta, there's 300 houses in this neighborhood. Good luck. Here's your clipboard. We'll be back in 4 hours. Here's 1 bottle of water to share. Yeah, it just feels very predatory. It's just a different form of advertising too. Like, that's all they're getting out of this. Like, they're just trying to get sales, the businesses, and rather than advertise their business in more traditional avenues, the default way to do roof stuff is you go door to door and you tell people, hello, we're a roofing company. Can we look at your roof and then tell you what we could work on? It's weird. And I get it that it must be effective, or they wouldn't be doing it. All right. So I want to turn off the patrol cycle until we're out of dialogue mode, right? Oh, see, I don't like this either, because this whole system is dialogue done. Oh, maybe not. Maybe this is... I'm going to put it to do on this one here. Hook into next dialogue box if part of larger conversation / cinematic. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I think that's... We can put it in... Okay, is in dialogue is probably the one to... Okay, I think I've got it. Patrol cycle gets a paused variable. Is paused. Okay, here's the idea. By default, it's not paused. If it is paused, we remain paused until the UI system says we are no longer in a conversation. If is paused, then check to see if, well, yeah. If is paused, then just fall out completely. If UI global dot is in dialogue, then, or rather reverse that, if we're not in a dialogue, then we're not paused, and that's it. And so this is going to let us pause it from one position and unpause it from any. So when our dialogue zone says that, hey, we are in a patrol cycle, we have an actor that is moving around, we have started talking to them, tell them stop moving around, pause their movement cycle, and then whatever happens after that doesn't really matter until the dialogue system reports that, hey, all dialogue boxes have been closed. We are no longer in a conversation. They will start walking again automatically. Let's see if that works. All right. So we got our guy. He's patrolling between point A and point B, which we have defined. Well, A is here, B is over here. And now, when we talk to him, he still is wandering around. Uh-oh. Oh, no. No, 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 no. We lost him. Okay, good news is I know exactly what's going on there. So, we successfully stopped processing the rules. The thing is, one of the rules is once you get to your target, stop. There is no rule that says slow down ever. It's you keep walking until you get to where you're going. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say if paused, stop moving. Stop moving. It's because we caught him while he was moving. Is the only reason. That's a fun bug. All right, so this, he stops, and then he continues on his merry way. Then he stops, then he continues on his merry way. Ooh. He stops, and then he continues on his merry way. Stop. I should get him to flip towards me as well. That would be nice. Yeah, we can actually do that pretty easily, I think. A flip timer. Target position. How does the flipping work in here? Where do we do flipping? Target sprite rotation. Okay, so the actor's target sprite rotation can be manually set. So when we are in the when the player is in the dialogue zone and we have access to player, we've already captured that from that trigger, and we have who we are speaking to as well. So when we start this, we want to set their target rotation based on which side the player is on. So based on their X position. That could get weird. I could see that getting weird in the case of if we've got some kind of map zone where the camera can rotate. This was something I don't know if it ever happened in Paper Mario 64 in any areas where you could talk to people. I think it did in Thousand Year Door. You have these occasional spots where your character will go around a corner and the camera will like rotate to follow them around the corner. So the character is still flat against the camera, but the camera follows them around a corner. So your X and Z coordinate system is not exactly the same. But for now, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna base this on the X coordinate and whether it's further to the left or further to the right. If player dot position dot X is less than speaker dot position dot X, then speaker dot target sprite rotation equals 0. And if it's greater, if it's identical, we're just not going to turn them. We're not going to even bother thinking about that. Oh wait, negative pi is going to the left. Okay. Negative pi. Okay, so that should be that. So this should be, you will turn and face me when I talk to you. He did not. He did not turn and face me. Is target sprite rotation processing? That's physics processing. So that shouldn't have anything to do with the pausing. Right, buddy? Oh, hey, that guy turned. I didn't turn. I should turn too. He doesn't turn. Oh, it's because his direction. Is it because of his direction? I think it might be because of his direction. I think he is wanting to keep moving along his patrol path. Or maybe just the order of which things happen. So if it's paused, we set the velocity to 0. We should do that when we are pausing it. Let's take that, and when we pause it, speaker.velocity set to 0. I'm gonna try that. And also, let's also do this. Player.target sprite rotation. So if I'm facing the wrong way, I'll turn around. Nice, okay. Next thing is, will you turn around now? Yes. And then he goes, yes, yes. All right, all right. Well, look at that. Wow, it's like a video game. You know what? That's a small thing, but it really looks good when it happens. Like, just seeing things turn around and face you. And then just... Yeah, you know what? That is what happens in paper games. That is what happens in your Thousand Year Doors and your Bug Fables and whatever other games there are out there. And it's pointing to where he is. Oh my gosh. That is not bad at all. Whew. Boy, you can really spend a lot of time on this small stuff. Okay, NPC text, 3D area, entry exit, button activates dialog box. Knock it off the to-do list. You get 100 small stuff, though. That's true. Paper games love having 100 of something. Then you get big stuff. I have my list. I have my list of things that we need to work on. And I guess combat needs to be on there. That's going to be the big one. That's a significant portion of the game's pizzazz is, well, what's the combat like? Like, you can have the best writing in the world, but if your combat sucks. I know we've talked about how I want to change status effects compared to, like, Paper Mario 64, Thousand Year Door. That is a big change I want to make, is how status effects work. Oh yeah, it's got to be punchy. Yeah. There's so much. Balance, I feel like, is going to be fairly easy. And it's going to be tough to strike a good middle ground because I feel like Thousand Year Door system is exploitable. Like, you can destroy things after, like, Chapter 3 and on. Well, no, like, yeah, Chapter 3, you get Power Lift, and you can just destroy everything. Like, once you get Power Lift and Power Bounce, you're just done. Everything can be one-shotted. And then you get Power Rush, and you pull off Danger Mario strats, or Peril Mario. Pies of Doom, something like that. Oh yeah. I mean, we can use it for placeholder art. As a general rule, we will probably not be using viewer art in the actual final game, but it can be fun to play around with stuff. Yeah, just for testing. Okay, NPC patrol zones, that's going to be like for enemies wandering around in the field. I've got a very straightforward idea of how that's going to work. Nothing crazy there. Area transition. Moving between map areas is a big thing. That one is a loaded bullet point, because not only is that talking about you're moving from area A to area B, well, that itself is weirdly complicated. Everybody knows the RPG movement trope of, like, the world is a rectangle, and the part of the rectangle where there's a little tab sticking out, that leads to the next rectangle over. Like, that's a staple. I don't actually know how old that particular little trope is. Like, the game that comes to mind immediately is the old Super Mario RPG, but now that I think about it, like, gosh, they had that in, like, old Final Fantasies too, right? Of just, like, the world's, crisp lower edge, and then one tile sticking out is the exit. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That is basically an area. Once you enter that area, a few things have to happen. You have to keep the player moving that direction. They have to walk off screen while screen fades out. Then you need to load the next area. Make sure that you position the player at an appropriate spot for that entrance. Fade in. Player is moving in, and then player stops just outside of the zone, and then relinquish control back to the player. That seems fairly straightforward if you had to do it once, but you need to do that in such a way that it is easy to set that up for 100 different zones. And each zone is going to have multiple areas where you can come in from multiple directions. Maybe some vertical area entries, like pop up through a trapdoor. go down a pit into an area, those need to have their own separate way of entering and exiting. Passing through doors. Do you include that animation? Is that, if it's in a door, is that like a separate area? It's like there could be a lot. There could be a lot to that. Area transition, we're gonna start with the easy stuff and work our way into the hard stuff like, oh, what about vertical? What about door? We're just gonna start with walk off one rectangle zone into another rectangle zone. Once we've got a feel for how that's gonna work, we can start to brainstorm about the more complicated stuff and more intricate animations. Battle scene transition. This kind of goes hand in hand with area transitions. We need some sort of overarching system that can manage different scenes, the loading, the unloading. Well, I guess not the unloading, but loading things in. Eventually that's going to include things like music transitions and the like. But the whole like fade out, switch scenes, set things up, fade in, that's got to be handled. And that's going to be handled by a similar system to whatever handles battles. Oh my gosh, fade ins. Yeah, it's going to be a wreck. Battle scene is specifically different because we're also going to have, in addition to a unique transition, so now we need to add different types of transitions to this. We're always going, here's where it gets tricky, we're always going to the same area, which is a standard battle scene, one scene dedicated to every battle in the game. Yeah, probably every battle in the game will be on one scene. And we'll just swap out set dressing for different areas. So, swap out the background, swap out the decor. But what's really tricky, and I haven't really come up with the way that I want to do this yet. I'm trying to come up with a good system for this. We want to make sure that when the battle is over, you go back to exactly where you were and everything is in the exact same state that it was in. I want to research some things first because I think there might be something that'll do that kind of out of the box. If not, we may have to get a little creative. We'll see. Then, before we go too much farther after that, I want to start setting up some data blocks. Easily editable tables of data. At the start, this is just going to be like a big list. Oh, that's true. That's true. The enemy has to change to defeated status, poof away, money pops out, the usual. I want to get just a placeholder zone where we can keep all of our stats. Eventually, that will be replaced to an external file to make things more moddable in the future. But as a start, we're just going to have a big block, a big list of arrays or dictionaries of some sort. Something like that. Camera control. Basic camera is going to be pretty easy. We're not going to get too in-depth yet, but we do want to make sure that we leave room for the dialogue system to have a little bit of control over it. When you start a dialogue, the camera should sort of frame the people that are in the conversation. During a conversation, it may be necessary to focus on something else while the text is up. You know, like, hey, I need you to go get that key. Camera hard cuts to the key and does like a slow fade out, a slow zoom out while another piece of text is showing up. That needs to be handled in our dialogue system. Just some basic camera control stuff. Item system. That's going to be fun. We'll build some placeholder items. Be able to add items, remove items, use items. Ugh, that's going to be a whole menu thing. We'll see what we need to do for that. And then at some point we're going to have to actually get over to turn-based combat. That is really scary. You have to get that right. There can be no bugs in combat. Which is, if it was just me coding up the rules of combat, absolutely easy. But we're gonna have to deal with asynchronous things like animations. And those are always where some weird wrench gets thrown in. So we'll see. It would also be very nice if enemy combatants could be moddable, at the least. At the least, asset swapped and data swapped. The thing I want to push for is make it possible to create fully custom enemies in the engine. Sound is going to be, yeah, you know what, let's just go ahead and add that to the list. Sound in general is a big one. They still sell. That's true. They've got a little bit more of a name behind them, though. They've got people have, you know, strong emotional attachments to old Bethesda games, and so it's worth something. I have that to some degree, but a much smaller degree. Like, let's say 30 people. I can pull out the, you know I make video games, you like my video games. I can pull out for about 30 people. And those 30 people may not be interested in an RPG, let alone this particular flavor of RPG. 6 people. But hey, this right here, this is already a huge step up from where we were last time. Like, last time we were angling the stem, and that was about it. And now we've got this much. Now that, admittedly, they're all saying the same thing right now. It looks better every time. That's the fun of early game dev, is every time you look back, it's like, oh, that's a little nicer. So this right here is just hard-coded in for now. But what we are going to do is each actor's dialogue zone has an actor code now. And we need to probably have some kind of error message that pops up if there's a dialogue zone without an actor code. Paper Mario, the humor is so good, and I want to do my very darndest on capturing that same sort of okay, some of the same tone. The later Paper Mario still had, like, some of that good writing, but there is this insincerity about it all. Like, the whole time it feels like the game is like, video games, am I right? Like, it just can't be genuine about anything. Not in jokes. It's a lot of like, hey Mario, we're gonna go, oh gosh, the princess again. Yeah, that does happen. Guess you're off on a big adventure. Anyway, we'll be in the usual places. You know, I've got a store. I don't know. I can't even think of any great examples now. But it's the sort of like, yeah, you know how it goes. It's the tone, yeah. But some of it feels very, very genuine and like, yeah, this is a big deal. We got to do something. And then, gosh, they're just absolutely poor Luigi. They've not been kind to him. Luigi is an earnest character who, like, truly, like, feels the weight of the adventure. And then they're like, Luigi, why are you bothering with that? Mario will take care of it. He's the protagonist. At the time it was, yeah. The old ones had their fair share of, like, occasional little meta jokes about, like, this is a video game, haha. Like, occasionally a character talking directly to the player, and then as an aside, someone will be like, "Who are you talking to?" "Never you mind." It's like, all right, yeah, you can. They do it twice, I think, in the entire game. So it's like it's used lightly, and even that is like that's a little much, even. The one thing is that so much of the dialogue in all Paper Marios is about, gosh, we sure are talking a lot, aren't we? Wow, there's a lot of words that you as a player are having to read, huh? It's like if you're pointing that out as like, don't, come on. It's like embrace it. Yes, because it's a good story. You're allowed to do this. I want to strike that good middle ground. Anyway, actor code. We're gonna run that through some system. I have no idea what that system is, but it will spit out a conversation. So right now we're just saying show dialogue, and dialogue is a list of pages of text. Like, this is my first line of text, this is my second line of text, press A. Here's another page of text, press A, done. So that much can be managed by this system. What can't yet be managed is the character talks for a bit, and then a second character talks for a bit without you having to go over and talk to the second character. Got to figure out how to do that. A little worrying, but we'll figure it out. Try to think how we are going to build a system like that. It's going to be huge. And then the actual like dialogue script will all need to be like one, well, not even necessarily one file, but an external file. So we'll have to figure out how that goes. I mean, maybe. Yeah, it's right now that dialogue is just words and codes about how to render the words. But we pass in who is speaking it separately. And I think that makes sense. So it would be like, this is one... Let's see. So we have a text page. A page of text is like, this is a test. And if I added, this is more text as a second string, that's a second page. This whole block as a whole is one... What would this be one of? Dialogue box. It's a single dialogue box worth of text, I guess. I don't know. I don't have a great term for it. But what we need is then to have a list of those to be a conversation object. And the tricky thing is that, what is the tricky thing? Multiple actors. You know what? Maybe by actor code. It's probably going to be by actor code. So we developed this thing. Where is it? We developed actor code as a system that when you're in the dialogue zone, there's an actor code corresponding to, you know, who is this? Who are you looking at there that you're going to pull text from? And so maybe that can be a two-way street. When the player goes up and talks to an actor, that gives us the actor code, which we're going to reference against some database of text. But maybe in addition, if the conversation needs to have some other character that's nearby respond, maybe that can be, I can look them up by their actor code. So it would be when you're talking with, you know, actor A, they have this line of text followed by actor B saying this line of text and this other line of text and this third line of text, and then actor A says this line of text. That is probably going to be how we're going to key in on it, is by this actor code. That needs to be a unique string for every talking entity. And then you need things like little animations of like question mark over an actor's head or exclamation mark, you know the usuals, the usual guff. All right, that's where we are tonight. We made progress, and I feel pretty good about it. I'm gonna get some sleep. You all should do the same. We're gonna have a grand old time continuing. I'm having a blast working on this. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. This little stuff we're doing now, where we're just faffing about with showing dialogue boxes. We're sweating over very small stuff, but it's gonna be at a huge scale. If we have 1,000 lines of dialogue in the game, and that is probably a low estimate, if I had to guess. Then we want to get it right. Ugh. Germtel scared me. Jerk. I don't have anybody online. We're going to not raid. Hooray! My favorite. Have a good night, everybody. I'll be back Friday. I think we're going to keep doing this for a bit. I think this is going to be the regular category for a while. Probably not all the way until Factorio comes out, but we'll see. Probably just until Silksong, because that should be any day now, right? OwlQuest on Sunday. Yes, that is going to be the current schedule, is work on our project during the week and then OwlQuest on Sunday, except during the times where someone can't make it. I'm excited. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you next time.